What do Singaporeans think of state-owned media in Singapore?
I think it's quite a big issue. Like if you look at a lot of overseas publications, they always bring up the fact that it seems that the media is quite overly controlled by the government. But we've got different views on that. Like SPH says that even though they've got the kind of investment in, they are still looking at it from a very neutral standpoint. And if you're looking at the normal person, it doesn't seem that way. In terms of the political reporting, doesn't feel overly skewed because the media still gives us that choice of making a choice in what we choose to believe and what we choose to see. And with the internet, it's like even if media is being locally controlled, it's still open to a lot of people.
I think without any sort of independent views on news or government policies, I think the people would not be able to see the pros and cons of any kind of government policy. So it minimizes debate. It does not encourage debate, and it's not good as a whole for society to progress if people just accept government policy at face value and not have the opportunity to debate the pros and cons of it.
Potentially, I think that's what's been happening. But if in the news you kind of see that there are a lot more young adults joining opposition, giving their points, and raising views on online portals, even on Facebook and stuff like that. So.
Well, I mean, you get into very tricky debates about what you mean by democratic. And you just refer to like the fact that we have elections, or stand more to see beyond that. But I think it will always be more democratic.
What do you think constitutes a democratic nation, and do you think Singapore is close to this idea?
For me, my definition of a democratic nation is very, very simple. The ability to be free from fear of speaking out against the government. That's all. And then once that is in place, I think then we'll have a freer form of media. We'll have a freer form of election system. And then we'll have a much better society where people are less fearful, where actually intellectual discourse can flourish, arts can flourish, because we'll have better writers, we'll have better filmmakers, better artists who are able to think out of the box, who are able to express themselves. I think in all authoritarian states, they always claim that they are a unique country. In Burma, they always claim that we are a unique nation. We do not believe in Western form of democracy. And in Singapore, government, being an authoritarian government, always use this argument, but it's a fallacious argument. If you look at Asian democracies, and Taiwan, South Korea, even some Southeast Asian countries like the Philippines, Indonesia, they have evolved their own style of democracy. They have open TV debates among opposition politicians and ruling party oppositions. They have freer media than us, and these are the countries that perhaps we should be looking at as a model.
I like that sense. Okay, we are brought in an environment that we're taught not to talk too much about political situations, and whatever the government said, we have to think that it's always right.
To an extent, yes. Generally, I guess people can say what they want, but I think compared to some other societies, there are more limits than would be elsewhere. I think it's very clear, right? There are some sort of somewhat strict rules about what you can and cannot talk about, whether it's online or in the media or whatever. Some of them are written rules, some of them are unwritten rules.
This has been a fallacy that has been propagated for a long time, that if you give one person a room to protest, the next day 100% will come, and the following day 1,000 people will come, and there will be chaos in the streets. I think we have to trust Singaporeans to behave responsibly when given those freedoms. In any kind of situation where freedoms are granted, there will always be a few who will abuse these freedoms. For example, but you don't ban outright this right of free expression, of free assembly. Yeah. I think for libel and defamation laws, I think every country has it lah, and the government always makes a point that a lot of countries do have it. The way it is applied here is problematic because I feel that the judiciary here is not totally independent. If you sue people who criticize you, then you will always be seen as a bully. You will always be seen as silencing criticisms, rather than exposing the slander in public. I think the fines are way too high. I think he has to pay every time he gets sued by Lee Kuan Yew or Lee Hsien Loong, he has to pay close to $1 million in damages. Yeah, and for me, I think the fines are meant to bankrupt opposition politicians so that they can't stand for elections.
So lastly, right, as you have said, there's an atmosphere of political apathy among Singaporeans, and even among those who are not that apathetic, they are afraid of speaking out because of the laws in place. So why do you choose to be different? Why do you choose to create a film to speak out? Why aren't you under the same pressure and forced to self-censor yourself like that?
I feel that nobody is born apathetic. You don't get born and then not interested in politics. I think Singaporeans are interested in politics, but because of the strict laws governing public discourse and governing actions, you see that when people get interested in politics, they feel powerless. They feel that whenever they try to do something, they will come up against the police. They'll be warned, and then they worry about losing their jobs because of it. And therefore, they become apathetic because of the existence of the law in place. So I would think that my impact would be more intangible. Yeah, it's not concrete. And I will keep doing what I do.